You didn't change, but you have big life events that happen to you. And I know that you're open enough to speak about them because, in fact, you've brought them to Parliament. And if I may just point out the first one, which is that you suffered, like many, many women, a miscarriage. And this happened when Sven was not even, was he not around? He wasn't reachable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was horrible. That's the part where people always see that Sven is traveling. I think it's glamorous, but in fact, it's very hard, not only for him, but also for the family that's left behind. And we were talking about starting a family for a few years. We always were sure that we wanted to have kids. Then when the pregnancy test was positive, we were both so happy and over the moon. And then he went to Jordan for Parliament. And during that weekend, I had a miscarriage. So I was alone at home. I started bleeding, and it was in November, so it was icy on the road, and it was during the night. So I was completely alone. I had to deal with it myself. I had nobody to lean on, and I drove to the maternité, and they just diagnosed that there's no longer heartbeat. And they only asked, like, are you here alone? I was like, yeah. Where's your husband? I was like, he's away. He's abroad for work. And that seemed like the only thing that mattered, like that I shouldn't be driving home alone or something. They didn't comfort me. I mean, sure, for them it's business as usual.
No, I don't think that's correct, actually. I think part of healthcare is mental health care. But
yeah. They just let me go while I was crying. I mean, I was completely... I remember like breaking down in parking lot. And then I was like, how do I tell Sven? He's in Jordan.
So let's go back to that. Sorry, how were you treated in hospital?
May I just maybe give one sentence that you told me and that we've later on published in an op-ed in a newspaper in Luxembourg. It was that sentence that still stings really at the heart. You were standing there and they said, like, yeah, there's no heartbeat. You now have to see if it goes away by itself or in 2 days you have to come back for curettage. Goodbye. That was about the level of healthcare she experienced that night.
Yeah.
And having talked a lot about healthcare in Luxembourg, and I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty details of policy, but the human side, the human aspect of how we deal with patients in Luxembourg is sometimes very dehumanizing. It's trying to be very efficient, being very efficient with resources, which is great from a price point, but it's very bad from a human side and mental health. Don't get me started on mental health. We will get into that, but the situation is atrocious.
I'm so surprised that you were treated like that in Luxembourg, because I didn't have my children here in Luxembourg. But I know if you have a baby here, you have a long period of time in hospital compared to many other countries. So the fact that you were treated like that at a different stage of what is actually still pregnancy is really quite extraordinary to me. And as you say, it's the humanity that is entirely lacking there in what is, a care profession.
Yeah.
But off the back of this awful experience, and the reason, by the way, you couldn't get hold of Sven was not only was he in Jordan, but it was nighttime.
Yeah.
His phone was, unavailable, and you were there truly, truly alone, and that also clearly led to a sort of a PTSD.
Yeah, it was very traumatic because I already struggled during my whole life with mental health issues. I suffered from depression since I was a kid, basically. And so moments like these, for sure, like they push you back into a hole.
They're triggers, but all of this should have been on the medical record, which should have been open to...
But for me, it was more the problem when I went, for example, to the OBGYN. I had like an older lady, and I went there for my 12 weeks checkup, which should have been the checkup where she says like everything's okay and you're good to go. You like surpassed that critical level. And I started crying. And then she said to me, stop crying. There are women that have it worse. I had a woman here, she was in her 8 months and she had to give birth to a dead baby. And I'm like, are you serious? Am I not allowed to grieve? Is my grief or my baby not worth it? And I told her, you're not allowed to dictate my feelings.